Hello, good evening and welcome. My name is Paul. I'm also called Knack. I do the daily teaser and they'll be floating around on YouTube somewhere and on my blog, Knack's Old Peculiar. I like entertaining people with tons and tons of pointless quiz questions. I also like watching movies, and I haven't seen one in a while, it has to be said, although with Halloween coming up, I'll probably have to try and watch something that's a little gruesome. And I also watch TV shows. I've got access to Star Trek Discovery, and I've watched the first two series, so I'm going to try and see that at some point. I've also got Fury from the Deep, the most recently released reanimated Doctor Who story to watch. So that's going to be coming up somewhere along the way. Keep an eye on my channel. Please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, because something is on my screen and something will also be reviewed. At any rate, tonight I wanted to talk to you about the show I saw last night. I actually went to bed straight afterwards because it was fairly late for me. I actually watched episode 5 of the first series of Watchmen. And episode 5 is called Little Fear of Lightning. Episode 5, Little Fear of Lightning, opens with the usual summary of previous episodes, and then shifts to Hoboken in New York State in 1985. It shows us a small group of Jehovah's Witnesses preparing to do some missionary work in the middle of the sinful cesspit of a Hoboken fun fair. It focuses on a young Wade Tillman in the days before he became Looking Glass, the Tulsa cop. The younger Looking Glass is played by Phil Labes. The older one is, of course, played by Tim Blake Nelson, who's a character is keen to do God's work. I should add at this point, Tim Blake Nelson is actually a graduate of the Juilliard School in New York. If the US has an equivalent to RADA and Central, it's the Juilliard School, so I was quite impressed by his training there and his acting ability. At any rate, the character, the younger version of Looking Glass, is keen to do the Lord's work and preachify and testify to all and sundry until he gets distracted by an attractive female gangster who gets him very entertained and then runs off, stealing his clothes and leaving him abandoned in a hall of mirror. Just as New York is hit by the squid attack that's the climax of the original comic, surviving only because he's in the Hall of Mirrors, hence the later name when he becomes a policeman. The scene shifts back to the modern day and shows us Laurie Blake, the Silk Spectre, Sheen Smart, briefing the Tulsa police and making sure that they focus their efforts on the church that the 7th Cavalry make their films in. She believes that's a findable location. Privately, Looking Glass has found out from his ex, Cynthia, Eileen Gruber, that the pills Angela, Regina King, had found were illegal nostalgia pills. They illegally allow people to access other people's memories. Looking Glass, however, has more on his plate. He's got the pills handed back. Laurie Blake knows what he's up to. She's bugged his cactus. And he's got a malfunctioning burglar alarm, or air raid siren alarm at home. When he's off, and what's more, when he's off duty at a local bar, he meets an attractive single woman who turns out to have a pocket full of Rorschach's 7th Cavalry masks and a hidden base, and knows a lot about the squid attack. Now, what did I make of Little Fear of Lightning? Was it a good episode? Did it tie in with the original graphic novels? Did it expand the universe a little further? Let's deal with the last two questions first. Yes, there's expansion going on. We've seen a lack of computers going on. The Tulsa Police Department, for example, they've got typewriters on their desks rather than the cheap commodity desktops would expect in our world's police departments. The focus group Looking Glass works with, they've got clipboards instead of computer tablets. By contrast, the place has got cheap, working, efficient cloning. It's got cheap and efficient cloning that's so good that Looking Glass's ex-wife works at a lab that knocks out clones of people's dead pets. Quite what that makes Adrian Veidt's serving staff, who are also clones, I really couldn't tell you. Makes you think, though. It tells you a lot about Veidt. The place has also got teleporters. They've got really strong ones built into a force field around Veidt's prison that will send anyone that goes through them onto a moon of Jupiter. And it's got ones that are cheap enough for the 7th Cavalry to be able to either steal or afford. They're turning into their world's equivalent of, say, a cheap 3D printer, you know? You can go out and get a 3D printer and make jewellery like my cousin's wife and daughter do, or you can go out and get a 3D printer to make guns. To me, that's what these teleporters look like. They look like the equivalent of our 3D printers. The world's got DVDs still. Enough of them that Looking Glass finds out the squid attack he was a victim of was a hoax. Bit of a revelation for him there. At any rate, Watchmen as a series and Watchmen and Little Fear of Lightning, both expanding the universe that they're set in, they're slowly telling us a story. There's a betrayal. Angela gets betrayed by Looking Glass. Sister Night gets betrayed by Looking Glass because he's being blackmailed by the 7th Cavalry. So the story is progressing. The expanding universe is expanding. And yes, this is beautifully written and acted. Just to add the cherry on top, it is beautifully, beautifully done. Hopefully, I'm going to be watching the next episode next Tuesday. That'll be Tuesday the 28th. I'll be doing the write-up either on the day or the day afterwards, along with the video. I hope you'd like to join me. We'll see what happens next week. Come back. Let's watch that next episode.